Hello, this is Simple Math for you. Today we are going to continue the revision for Chapter 6, Linear Inequalities, which include the following lessons: solving one-step and multi-step inequalities, solving compound and absolute value inequalities, and graphing inequalities into variables. أهلا بكم من جديد، واليوم سنقوم بمراجعة الوحدة السادسة التي تتضمن حل المتباينات بخطوة واحدة وبعدة خطوات. المتباينات المركبة والتي تحتوي على القيمة المطلقة ورسم المتباينات بمتغيرين. الجزء الثاني. Let's start with the following question. True or false? The value 6 is a solution of x more than minus 4. So this is giving us a true solution. صحيح. However, 6 is not a solution of x less than 1. So this is giving us false solution. So the question is telling me that, therefore, 6 is not a solution of the compound inequality x between minus 4 and 1, or we can say x is greater than minus 4 and less than 1. x أكبر من ناقص 4 و بنفس الوقت أصغر من الواحد. Compound inequality, and this is and inequality, when it is between, that's and inequality, should have both correct solutions. The first and the second one should both be correct. لازم الاثنين يكونوا صح عشان يكون الجواب النهائي صح. Since one of them is only correct, that means 6 is not a solution. He is telling me that 6 is not a solution. That means his statement is true. Be careful. He is telling you that it's not a solution. So the statement is true. Number 18. True or false? If a number is a solution of x more than minus 10, but not a solution of x less than 4, then the number is a solution. Now he's telling you that it is a solution. It is a solution of the and inequality. That means his statement is false. Remember, if this question comes in an or statement, if he's saying that x is more than minus 10 or x less than 4, this gives us true solution. For this one, it is also, we can say that if the first one is correct, the second one is correct, then it should be a correct solution. So if he's saying that it's not a solution for an or inequality, his statement will be false. Then or one correct solution is enough, and both should be correct. Great. Number 19, solve the following the below inequalities in questions 1 and 2. Graph their solutions on a number line. Number 1, this is an and inequality. And inequality. If it is between a number and the number, then it's an and inequality. As I explained in a previous video, we can solve it in two approaches. We can divide this into two inequalities, compound by and. This is the first one, and this is the second one. So we can write the following. We can write that. And we can solve each inequality individually. So I will solve for x. I'll take this x6 there. And this will be minus 30. If you divide both sides by 3 to solve for x, this will be the first solution. And when you start with x, then x is more than negative 10. And the second one, I think everyone should know how to solve inequality now. So x less than minus 3. We are combining two inequalities with and. So on the number line, we have two important numbers, minus 10 and minus 3. Remember, minus 10 is less than minus 3. Minus 10 will be open circle At -3, also open circle because there is no equal sign. X is more than -10, so it is to the right. X is less than -3, so it's to the left. The shaded region we are looking for is this one. So the solution would be X more than -10 and less than -3. As I told you in a previous video, you can do it in 2 steps. We can add 6 to all sides. Then we would divide all sides by 3. And we have, as you see, the same solution as we have here. Choose the way you feel it's good for you. And this is for and exclusively, not or. للأند مش للأو. Okay, let's go to question 2. Here we are combining the inequalities with or, so we will solve each one individually. Divide by 2, so x more than or equal to 2. The second one, and they are combined by or. So on the number line, we will show that we have -7, closed circle. We have a 2 closed circle as well. X is more than or equal to, so it's to the right of 2, less than or equal to -7, so it's to the left of -7. And the solution we can say x such that x is more than or equal to 2, or x less than or equal to -7. Perfect. Let's go to a real life application. A kite can be flown in wind with speeds no less than 6 kilometers. So if you assume that the speed is x, so your x is not less than, it's more than or equal to 6 per hour. And at the same time, and the same speed x, no more than 15. So it is less than or equal to 15. If you combine them, then this speed will be between inclusive تتضمن في نفس الوقت the 6 and the 15. X is more than or equal to 6 and at the same time less than or equal to 15. And if you want to graph it, it's not included, but let's do it. And this will be your solution between the 6 and the 15. Perfect. The highest score that is recorded on a video game is 10,219 points. The lowest score is 257 points. Which of the following inequalities best shows the range of scores recorded on the game? It's very obvious that X is the range of scores is between 257. So 257 will be included because it is said that it's a lowest score. The lowest, so it is part of the scores, and less than or equal to the 10,219 points. Very clear. 22, solve this question, solve this inequality. Let's subtract the -3 from all sides. And we have here half p. How can I have the p alone? I have to get rid of the 1/2. And this can be done by multiplying by 2/1 everywhere. And this means we have 4 here, we have here p, we have here 10, and the solution will be C, obviously. Next, which graph shows the solution of the inequalities? This is the first inequality. And the second one, 6 minus 8 is -2. If you divide, so x more than or equal to -1. And that means the solution will be x more than or equal to -1 less than 4, which is B definitely. I should expect this as a solution because usually and will be shaded region, a common region, intersection. That is most probably will be B. Okay, solve this absolute value inequalities. Remember, the absolute value will be always positive or 0. So if we have absolute value less than or equal to 0, we have to say that it's either less than 0, he's telling you it can be less than 0, or it can be more than 0. We know that this is impossible. The absolute value will never be less than 0. So we will just find out when it is equal to 0. The absolute value is equal to 0 when this x is -1. When x plus 1 is 0 means x is -1. So the only possible solution is A. One and only one value. Let's solve 25. If you want to start solving the absolute value inequality or equation, isolate it. اعزله خليه لوحده. So this will be 1 minus 1 means 0. Can the absolute value be less than 0? هل ممكن يكون negative؟ هل يمكن يكون سالب؟ أبدا. Never true. So no solution. مجموعة خالية. You can find it also written in this way. The solution of the inequality is, this is less than or equal absolute value. So it is an and inequality. For the and inequality, we can write it in two approaches. We can say that 2x minus 1 less than or equal to 1, and on the other side greater than or equal to -1, and solve it. I prefer this one, and I'll solve it in the other way as well. I add 1. So this will be 2x more than or equal to 0, less than or equal to 2. And when you divide everything by 2, so x is more than or equal to 0, less than or equal to 1. And that means the solution is B. If you want to divide your work into two inequalities, they should be combined by and. So this will be 2x minus 1 less than or equal to 1 and 2x minus 1 more than or equal to -1. If you shift it to the other side, 1 plus 1, 2. So x less than or equal to 1 and 2x more than or equal 1 minus 1, 0. So x more than or equal to 0, and still they are combined by and. If you combine them, so x is more than or equal to 0 and at the same time less than or equal to 1, and this is solution B, as we said before. Question 27, the solutions of the inequality is or are, we might have more than one correct solution. Let's check. First of all, isolate the absolute value. خلي الابسولوت value لوحده. And then this is greater than, so it is an or inequality. So we have two inequalities combined by or. The first one is the same as it is. The second one, x, reverse this and reverse the sign. So we don't need to move more than that. We have it ready, solved in C. Question 28, solve the below inequalities. Graph the solution on a number line. As you see here, the absolute value is not isolated, so we need to pick the 8 to the other side. 17 minus 8, 9. So we have or inequality, two inequalities compound or combined by or. Solve each one individually. The second one, take the -7 there. 7 minus 9 is -2 or -2. And x less than or equal to -half. It can be written in decimal form as well. They are combined by or. So that solution, we will have the -0.5 and we have the 4. Make it more clear here. Or closed circle at 4, closed circle at 0.5 negative, and it is less than or equal to negative 0.5 or more than 4. This is the solution. Let's see this question. In this question, we have denominator. Remember, we need to get rid of the denominator. How can we do that? Remember, multiply both sides by this denominator to cancel, to make the absolute value alone, and now we can deal with it easily. Then I will copy this side, and from the other side, I'll add the opposite of the 10, which is negative 10. And then I want to isolate x as we get used to, adding 4 to all sides. So we have x more than or equal to minus 6 less than or equal to 14. And that means we have closed circle at minus 6 and closed circle at 14. And the solution is between them here somewhere. Perfect. We are moving faster and we get used to the situation. Now let's see here how to write the absolute value from the situation. A survey showed that 85% of high school students used online videos while preparing for their exams. As we are doing now, the margin error was within 5 percentage points. Find the range of students who use online videos. Remember the general form. We have absolute value. Even in the equation, we used to do that. We write absolute value of x minus the actual value, which in our case is 85%. And then we have the error or the margin is here. Since we have margin error, range of students, the word range of students, then you will put less than or equal to. If you are asked about maximum or minimum, then you would write equal and it will become absolute value equation. Now we will solve this inequality. For this inequality, it is an and inequality, and we can solve it as we have done lots of similar questions before. And then adding 85 to all sides, we now have only 80, and here we have 90. 5 plus 85 is 90. Then the range of students who used online videos is between 80 and 90. So it is x such that x is between 80 and 90. We can say also the maximum is 80 and the minimum, the maximum is 90, the minimum is 80. Let's see those inequalities. It's a nice question. Determine whether each inequality is true, sometimes, always, or never true. Let's see the first one. Absolute value less than negative number. Can this happen? Never. So this will be never true. Let's use the red color. It is never true because the absolute value is always positive. Now, what is also never true? This will be never true. It is less than or equal to minus 3. Here, this is the minus 3. Everything will be less than or equal to a negative number. Can the absolute value be less than or equal to a negative number? It is never true. So this is also never true. The absolute value, the solution can be, x can be less than minus 3, but the absolute value itself, no. Okay, now here we have absolute value more than a negative number. It is always more than any negative number. More than, it is always more than because it's always positive or more than 0 or more. That means this will always be true. Now only question 2 remains. For this question, we need to solve, or without solving, we should know that it is sometimes true. Because if you solve this or inequality, you have 2 cases. Case 1, and this is case 2, and we can have 2 different solutions. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. That means we have minus 2 and less, or يعني minus 2 is not included, 8 and more. So we have some values that make my inequality true. That means it is true sometimes. Next question. Question 31. A survey of students who bring their lunch to school found that 20% always bring juice. The margin of error is within 3%. If X is the actual percent, which represent the range of students who always bring juice in their lunches, select all that apply. We need to know how to write the inequality. As we said, we have absolute value, general form, X minus the actual value that is given, which is 20. And since we are asked about the range, then it will be less than or equal to the error, or the plus minus thing, and it will be 3 here. This is the first inequality, true here. Then we will start solving it. If you solve it, this will be your solution. This is the first step. Adding 20 to all sides. So X more than or equal 17, and here 23. Have we got this solution before? Yes, we have it in C. So A and C are correct. What about E? Of course, this is wrong because he put the error inside, so this is a wrong way. In D, he is using OR, and this is wrong. We are looking for range of values, so we are looking at the intersection or the common region. So D is definitely wrong. Even without thinking, even without solving, you should know that it's wrong. Let's check E. If you look and compare E and C, you can see that they are exactly the same. Here we have X written as X less than or equal to 23. Yes, and it is less than or equal to 23. X more than or equal to 17. Yes, X more than or equal to 17. So E is also correct. As you see, these has been reversed. So we have A, C, and E are correct. Great. Let's go to question 32. The solution set of 4x minus y more than 6 is graphed in a coordinate plane. Complete the below statements about the graph so they are true. The test point 0, 0, 0, 0 is a solution of the inequality or not a solution. How can we check if it's a solution or not? Yes, we need to replace. If you replace the x by 0, so it is 4 times 0, minus the y is also 0, this is x and this is y. Let's check whether it gives me the correct solution or not. 0 minus 0, 0. 0 more than 6. Is 0 more than 6? Of course, wrong. So this is not a solution of the inequality. So the plane that does not include or that includes contain this point will be shaded. If it doesn't give me a correct solution, it's not a solution. That means I should shade the other plane that does not contain the point. So the half plane that does not contain this point will be shaded. Usually in the test point, let's revise. If you choose a test point and it gives you a correct solution, then you will shade the plane that includes that. انت بتختار نقطة test as a test اختبار. If it gives you إذا أعطتك جواب صحيح معناها هاي النقطة معانا بالتظليل بالمنطقة المظللة بمنطقة الحل. إذا أعطتك جواب غلط يبقى تضل الجهة الثانية من الخط. Since the inequality does not have an equal sign, ما في equal sign, there's no equal sign here. So that means the boundary line نفسه will be dashed, or احنا عندنا two options, يا إما solid line يا إما dashed line. We said before it will be solid if it is greater than or equal, less than or equal. It will be dashed if greater than only, less than only. So that means it will be dashed line. Perfect. This is like partial revision of graphing inequalities. graph the inequalities 3x minus y less than 2. If you are asked also to solve, you have to graph because we don't have any way to solve the inequality except graphing now. How can we graph? First of all, you need to graph the boundary line. اللاين نفسها 3x minus y less than 2, you need to graph it. How can we do that? Let's solve for y. Find y alone. So I'll take the 3x there. This was positive 2, it remains positive 2. I need y only, that's y. So I'll divide everything by minus 1 to keep the minus 1 positive. فاقسم كل شيء على ناقص 1. فصارت هاي 1 y. So y. Since you are dividing by a negative number, اعكس الإشارة, you reverse the sign. Negative 3x becomes 3x, positive 2 becomes negative 2. So this is the inequality that I'm going to graph. So the boundary line is y equals 3x minus 2, and I need a table. So I will generate my table. Assume once x 0 and once with 1. If x is 0, 3 times 0, 0 minus 2 is minus 2. If x is 1, 3 times 1, 3, 3 minus 2, 1. 2 points are enough to graph a line. So we have to plot the points 0 and minus 2. This is 0 and minus 2 on the y-axis. The second point 1 and 1. This is 1 and this is 1. So this is 1 and 1. Now we need to match. Before match, قبل ما نوصل لازم نعرف نشوف inequality. This inequality does not have equal sign. ما عندها equal sign. إذا اللاين راح يكون dash منقط. So I will not make it solid like that. مش متصل. It will be dashed line. Third step is the shading, التضليل. So we will use test point. Use the test point properly. Use a point not on the line. لا تختار نقطة على اللاين نفسه. أسهل نقطة عندنا إحنا باينة هي 0 0 لأنها مش موجودة على اللاين. And it is easy to replace by 0 0. So I will replace by 0 0 in this inequality. Inequality الأصلية 3x minus y less than 2. So I will replace this x by 0. And I will replace this y by 0. And I will check. 3 by 0, 0, 0 minus 0, 0. 0 less than 2. Is 0 less than 2? هل الصفر أصغر من 2؟ صح. It's true. Since it is true, that means this point is included in the shading. يعني هاي لما نضلل معانا في منطقة التضليل تتضمنها. So this is the solution. Now, I taught you before that you can do it also mentally without a test point. How can you do that? Usually, if you have positive y here and less, that means it will be below the line. The shading will be below the line. في الأسفل إذا كانت positive y. بس بما أنها negative, since y is negative y, so instead of below, this will be also reversed and it will be above the line. يعني الشيدنج التضليل راح يكون فوق اللاين، فوق الخط. إذا ما بتتمكن من هاي الطريقة، إذا use the test point to be in the safe side. Don't forget the shading. الشيدنج التضليل ضروري في solving the inequalities. Now let's solve another inequality. Graph the inequality and let's isolate the y. We can isolate the y like this. We can divide everything by y. This is not the only way to solve. By the way, you can graph the line using x-intercept, y-intercept method. I can show you also as a revision. Negative x over 5, or you can write it negative 1 over 5x. It's the same, and 10 over 5 is 2. When you generate your table, be smart. Use 0. It's nice. So the first point will be y less than minus equal minus 1 over 5 times 0 plus 2. So it is 0 plus 2, 2. The second point, I will use 5 because there is a denominator 5 here. So use multiples of 5. مضاعفات العدد 5. So I will use 5. and minus 1 over 5 times 5 is minus 1 plus 2 is 1. So 5 and 1 is one of the points. Let's plot the points. We have 0, 2, and we have 5 and 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1. So it will be somewhere here. This is less than or equal, so it will be solid line. So I will match with a solid line using a ruler here. Last step will be shading. And as I told you in the previous question, y here is positive, less than or equal, so it's below. So I should expect that it will be somewhere here. But anyway, I will use also test point for being in the safe side. Test point, since 0, 0 is not on the line, so I will use 0, 0. You can use any point. You can use 1, 0, 2, 0. You can use point here. You can use point up even. But 0, 0 is easier to replace actually. So I will replace in the original inequality. I will take x away. I'll put the 0. I'll take the y away. I'll put also 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 less than or equal to 10. Is this correct? Yes, it is correct. So I should expect that 0 is in my shaded region. If you don't like to solve using the graph using the table, you can use x-intercept, y-intercept method if you remember. Assume once x is 0, so this disappears. صارت 5y less than or equal to 10 or equal to 10. Divide by 5, so y equals to 2. So this is 0 and 2. The second one, when you want y0 to find x-intercept, so this disappears, so x is 10. So we have 10, 0, 0, 2. You can plot the points and you will have the same line definitely. But you need to change the scale here because 10 is not enough here. You choose 2, 4, 6, 8 on the scale. Anyway, this is easy. Which is the graph of the following inequality? Which option that we will never think about? Think about it. These are the 4 options that are available for us. Yes, A and D will never be correct. Why? Because here we have less than only. So our line will not be solid line. Definitely, A is definitely wrong because he has graphed solid line. D is definitely wrong because it is also solid line. So we have 2 options, B and C, to choose from. Both are dashed lines. And also without solving, even without solving, without graphing, we should expect that here y is positive and it is less than means below. So the shading will be below the line. And that means this is my solution. For multiple choice, you need to find a fast way to choose. Use your reasoning to choose fast. Our choice is B. Tickets to a theoretical play to theater in Dubai are 100 dirhams for adults and 40 dirhams for students. To cover expenses, at least 2,000 dirhams worth of tickets must be sold. So we need at least minimum. So the budget should be more than our budget. Should be more than at least, يعني more than أكيد 2,000 dirhams. This is what we understood. Let X represent number of tickets sold to adults and Y represent the number of tickets sold to students. Complete the inequality to represent the number of tickets of each type that need to be sold. Okay, now the price of ticket for adult is 100. Each one costs X dirhams. The price for a ticket for a student is 40 and each costs Y. Their sum should be within our budget or more. So more than or equal to 2,000. This is the inequality that we need. You are not asked to solve it, just to write the inequality. If, let's say, you are asked to graph, please try to simplify. If you are asked, you are not asked to do that. So as we see here, all of these items or terms are divisible by 10. So this will be 10x plus 4y more than or equal to 200. Also, we can divide everything by 2. So it will be 5x plus 2y more than or equal to 100. All can be divided by 2 if you want to have decimal, but anyway, you can stop here and you can start simplifying and isolating the y to be able to graph it, but you are not asked to do so. But if you are, please simplify before doing anything, but we are not doing it now. Make each graph, match each graph to its inequality. Obviously here, A will match with B because it is solid line, as you see here. Others, both are dashed lines, but which one we are going to choose? Now, as I told you, this is negative and more than. If it is positive, then you will shade above the line, but this is negative reverse, so this will be shaded below. Dashed and shaded below is matching with A. And the last one is matched with C, definitely. Fast and precise. The last question, right? An inequality that describes the part of the coordinate plane not included y more than 4x minus 2. If we want not included, so you should find out the region that is not greater than. So you will replace this not greater than by less than or equal. And this is the end of the revision of chapter 6. I hope it was beneficial. أرجو أن تكون فيها الفائدة. انتهت مراجعتنا للوحدة السادسة وحظا موفقا للجميع. Good luck for you and see you in the next video. للقاء.